you've been there, sitting across from her, wondering if that smile meant something, replaying the conversation in your head at 3 in the morning, analyzing every word she said, every laugh, every glance. You're looking for signs, for clues, for some kind of confirmation that she feels what you're hoping she feels. But here's what most people miss entirely. The answer isn't hidden in what she says. It's not buried in some coded language or mysterious female psychology that requires a decoder ring to understand. The truth is far simpler, and honestly, far more revealing. The real answer is in what she allows. Let me explain something that changes everything once you understand it. In human psychology, particularly in the dance of attraction and courtship, women operate as what we call gatekeepers of intimacy. This isn't about game playing or manipulation. It's about biology, safety, and thousands of years of evolutionary psychology hardwired into the female brain. A woman's nervous system is constantly scanning for safety and compatibility. She's asking herself, often unconsciously, is this person safe? Do I want this person closer? Am I willing to let my guard down? And here's the critical piece. When a woman is interested, truly interested, she doesn't just tell you with words. She shows you through permission. She lowers barriers. She allows access to spaces, both physical and emotional, that she would absolutely block if the attraction wasn't there. This is what I call active compliance psychology. It's not passive, it's not accidental. When she permits certain things to happen, she's making an active choice, even if it's happening beneath her conscious awareness. Her brain has already categorized you as someone worth getting closer to, and her behavior reflects that decision. So let's talk about the 7 most revealing things that, if she allows them, mean she genuinely wants you. These aren't tricks, these aren't games. These are psychological indicators rooted in how human connection actually forms. When she allows social isolation, picture this scenario. You're at a party, a bar, a social gathering. She's with her friends. You're having a conversation in the middle of the noise and the crowd. And you suggest something simple. Hey, it's loud in here. Want to go talk somewhere quieter? Or maybe, let's grab some air outside. Now, pay attention to what happens next. If she immediately makes an excuse, if she says, oh, I need to find my friend, or I should check on something, that's your answer right there. But if she agrees, if she walks away from her group, from her safety net, from the social buffer that keeps strangers at a comfortable distance, and goes with you into a more isolated space, she just gave you one of the strongest signals possible. Women don't isolate themselves with men they don't trust. They don't create intimate bubbles of privacy with someone they find threatening, uncomfortable, or uninteresting. The female brain is acutely aware of vulnerability. Going somewhere alone with a man requires her nervous system to give the green light. It requires her to feel safe enough, interested enough, attracted enough to take that risk. This is what psychologists call dyadic withdrawal, the creation of a private world between two people, even in a public space. When she allows this, when she permits you to extract her from the crowd and into a space where it's just the two of you, she's saying yes to intimacy. She's saying yes to the possibility of something happening. Think about it from her perspective. If she wasn't interested, staying in the group would be safer, easier, less complicated. She could keep the conversation surface level, surrounded by witnesses, with easy escape routes. But she didn't choose that. She chose to be alone with you. That choice matters. When she allows the breaking of physical boundaries. Human beings have what's called proxemics, the invisible zones of personal space that surround our bodies. We have public space, social space, personal space, and intimate space. That final zone, intimate space, is reserved for people we trust deeply, people we're attracted to, people we want physically close. Here's what this looks like in real life. You're talking to her, and you reach over and gently touch her arm while making a point, or you brush a piece of lint off her shoulder. Maybe you playfully touch her hand, or you move a strand of hair away from her face. These are small gestures, almost insignificant in isolation, but they're actually profound tests of her comfort and interest. Watch what happens. Does her body stiffen? Does she pull back, even slightly? Does she create distance or cross her arms? Or does she stay soft, relaxed, receptive? Does she maintain eye contact? Does she perhaps even lean in? If she allows the touch, if she permits you to enter her intimate space without defensiveness or withdrawal, her body is speaking a language older than words. Physical touch is the biological precursor to sexual intimacy. It's how humans communicate desire before a single word about attraction is ever spoken. When she doesn't flinch, doesn't retreat, doesn't put up barriers, she's giving consent to escalation. She's saying, I'm comfortable with you this close, I want you this close. This isn't about being aggressive or invasive. It's about recognizing that appropriate, respectful touch is part of how romantic connection develops. And her response to that touch tells you everything. A woman who's not interested will find ways to maintain distance. She'll keep a table between you. She'll angle her body away. She'll keep her arms folded or filled with objects that create a physical barrier. But a woman who wants you? She removes those barriers herself. She leans in when you speak. She finds reasons to touch you back. She allows the space between you to shrink, and she doesn't fight to expand it again. When she allows logistical vulnerability, this one is huge, and it's often completely overlooked. Imagine you offer her a ride home, or you suggest continuing the conversation back at your place. Maybe you're walking together and you say, my apartment is just around the corner. Want to come up for a drink? Do you understand what she's actually agreeing to if she says yes? She's agreeing to get into a car with you, a space where you control the movement and destination. Or she's agreeing to enter your private territory, a place where she's completely vulnerable, where no one knows she's there, where she's relying entirely on your character and intentions to keep her safe. This requires an extraordinary level of trust. Women are taught from childhood to be cautious about these exact situations. Getting into a car with a man you barely know, going to his home. These are the scenarios that every safety talk, every warning, every true crime podcast tells women to avoid. So when she says yes, when she allows this logistical vulnerability, she has already made a massive psychological determination about you. Her brain has categorized you not as a stranger, not as a potential threat, but as someone safe, someone trustworthy, someone she wants to be alone with in a private setting. And let's be honest, she knows what being alone in a private setting potentially leads to. This isn't naivety on her part. It's not carelessness. It's intentional openness. She's creating opportunity. She's putting herself in a position where intimacy can naturally escalate, and she's doing it because part of her wants that escalation to happen. If she wasn't interested, she'd find a reason to decline. She'd have a friend pick her up. She'd say she's tired and needs to get home. She'd keep the interaction public and time-limited. But she didn't do that. She chose vulnerability. She chose privacy. She chose you. When she allows you to lead the interaction. Leadership in social dynamics is fascinating from a psychological perspective. There's something called compliance testing, where one person suggests an action or change, and the other person's response reveals their level of investment and interest in the connection. Here's how this plays out. You suggest moving to a different location. Let's check out that rooftop bar. You suggest trying something new. You have to taste this drink. You propose an activity. Let's play pool. These are small leadership moments, minor tests of whether she's willing to follow your direction. Now, notice her response. Does she resist? Does she counter with her own plan? Does she make it difficult, questioning every suggestion, creating friction at every turn? Or does she go along easily, enthusiastically even, trusting your lead and allowing the interaction to flow in the direction you're guiding it? When a woman allows you to lead, when she demonstrates what psychologists call behavioral compliance, she's communicating something deeper than just agreeability. She's showing that she trusts your judgment. She's showing that she wants to please you, that she values your experience together enough to surrender some control, that she's invested in keeping the momentum going. This isn't about dominance or submission in some unhealthy way. It's about the natural rhythm of courtship, where two people are seeing if they can move together, if they can create experiences together, if one person can suggest and the other can receive without constant power struggles or testing. A woman who's not interested will make things harder. She'll be indecisive, difficult to please, resistant to your suggestions. Not because she's playing games, but because she's not invested enough to care where things go. But a woman who wants you, she makes things easy. She flows with your energy. She allows you to create the experience, trusting that you'll make it worthwhile. When she allows romantic investigation, conversations have layers. Surface level is safe, work, weather, hobbies, mutual friends. But underneath that is a deeper level where the real questions live. Questions about availability, questions about desire, questions about possibility. You introduce one of these deeper topics. Maybe you make a comment about relationships. So, are you seeing anyone right now? Maybe you share something about your own romantic life. I've been single for a while, focusing on work. Maybe you bring up something slightly flirtatious or sexual, testing the waters of where the conversation can go. And here's where you learn everything. Does she shut it down? Does she give you short, closed answers and change the subject? Or does she allow the investigation to continue? Does she engage with the topic, elaborate, volunteer information about her own status? Even more telling, does she use this opportunity to make her availability clear? No, I'm totally single. Does she ask you similar questions in return, showing that she's equally curious about your romantic situation? Does she let the conversation drift into more intimate, more revealing territory without pulling back? When she permits this kind of exploration, she's doing something psychologically significant. She's signaling that she sees you as a potential romantic partner, not just a friend or acquaintance. She's opening a door to a different kind of connection, and she's doing it intentionally. Think about how we behave with people we're not interested in. We keep things casual, deflect personal questions, avoid topics that might create romantic undertones. We're careful not to give the wrong impression. But with someone we're attracted to, we do the opposite. We lean into those conversations. We create opportunities for the other person to know we're available. We allow the subtext to become text. If she's letting you investigate her romantic life, if she's making it clear she's single and available, if she's asking about your situation with genuine interest, she's not just making conversation. She's gathering information to see if there's a path forward for the two of you. When she allows social framing as a couple, social perception is powerful. There's a psychological phenomenon where how others see us influences how we see ourselves. And when it comes to romantic connections, the moment other people start treating two individuals as a unit, something shifts. You're out together, and someone makes a comment. Maybe a friend jokes, "You two would make a cute couple." Maybe a server assumes you're on a date. Maybe you yourself make a playful comment that frames you as a we. "We're terrible at this game. We should come back here sometime." Now, observe her reaction carefully. Does she immediately correct the assumption? "Oh no, we're not together." Does she seem uncomfortable, creating distance, making sure everyone knows this isn't what it looks like? Or does she allow it? Does she smile, laugh, maybe even blush? Does she play along with the framing, not rushing to clarify or deny? This is what psychologists call social validation of romantic interest. When she permits others to see you as a couple, when she doesn't fight against that perception, she's testing out the idea herself. She's seeing how it feels to be viewed as your partner, even hypothetically. And if she's comfortable with that, if she doesn't feel the need to correct or reject the framing, there's attraction there. Women are socially aware. They know that failing to correct a romantic assumption might give you hope, might lead you on. If she genuinely wasn't interested, she'd make that clear, not just to you, but to everyone around you. She'd establish boundaries. Maintain the just friends narrative. Ensure there's no confusion. But when she lets the couple framing stand, when she allows people to link you together romantically without protest, she's opening a door. She's saying, maybe we could be that. Maybe I want us to be that. And that allowance is a green light. When she allows final escalation, this is the moment, the one where everything comes together or falls apart. You've been talking for hours. The connection is there, the tension is building, and you create a silence. You look at her lips. You lean in, closing the distance between you, entering that final intimate zone where there's no ambiguity left about what you want. Here's the truth that changes everything. Even if you're 90% sure, even if every other sign has been positive, you still have to take this step. You have to make the move. Because this is where permission becomes explicit. This is where her allowance transforms into active participation. Watch what she does. Does she turn her head, offering you her cheek instead of her lips? Does she pull back, creating space, breaking eye contact? Or does she stay? Does she hold your gaze? Does her breathing change? Does she tilt her head slightly? Does she part her lips? Does she close her eyes? If she allows you into this final space, if she doesn't retreat when the intention becomes unmistakable, she's not just permitting a kiss. She's saying yes to everything that kiss represents. The attraction, the desire, the willingness to cross from possibility into reality. There's a famous story about actress Nicole Kidman and Jimmy Fallon. Years later, she revealed that they'd once been set up, and she went to his apartment interested in him, waiting for him to make a move. He didn't. He thought they were just hanging out. She left disappointed, assuming he wasn't interested. The opportunity died because he didn't recognize the permission she was giving. That story matters because it illustrates something crucial. Women create opportunities, but they often can't be the ones to take the final step. Social conditioning, fear of rejection, the risk of seeming too forward, all of these things mean that even when she wants you, she might need you to be the one who closes that last gap. So if she allows you to get close, if she doesn't create barriers or objections, if she gives you the space and the silence and the eye contact that says, I'm ready, that allowance is everything. That's her consent. That's her desire. That's her way of saying, yes, this is what I want too. You know what's interesting about all of these signs? They're not about what she says. They're not about her telling you directly, I like you or I'm attracted to you. Because human connection, especially romantic connection, doesn't usually work that way. We're complex creatures. We communicate through behavior, through allowance, through the spaces we create and the barriers we remove. When you start paying attention to what she permits rather than what she proclaims, everything becomes clearer. The guessing game ends. The confusion dissolves. Because permission is honest, in a way words sometimes aren't. Her nervous system can't lie. Her comfort level can't fake itself. Her willingness to be vulnerable, to be touched, to be alone with you, to follow your lead, these things reveal her true feelings more accurately than any conversation could. But here's something important I want you to understand. This isn't about manipulation. This isn't about pushing past boundaries or ignoring discomfort. It's actually the opposite. It's about becoming more attuned to her genuine responses, more respectful of her actual comfort level, more aware of the subtle ways she's communicating her truth to you. Because the flip side of this is equally important. When she doesn't allow these things, when she creates distance instead of closeness, when she blocks instead of permits, that's also communication. That's also truth. And respecting that, honoring that, backing off when permission isn't there, that's what makes you the kind of person she can actually trust with the permission when she's ready to give it. Attraction is a conversation, not a monologue. It's a dance where both people are participating, responding, adjusting, and the best connections happen when both people are paying attention to what the other is actually communicating, not through words alone, but through the entirety of their behavior. So the next time you're wondering if she's interested, Stop overthinking her words. Stop analyzing her texts. Stop trying to decode some mysterious female psychology. Instead, pay attention to what she allows. Does she create opportunities for intimacy, or does she maintain distance? Does she remove barriers, or does she reinforce them? Does she make things easy, or does she make things difficult? Her allowance is her answer. Her permission is her truth. And when you learn to read that language, when you become fluent in the psychology of what people permit rather than what they pronounce, you'll never wonder again. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation where you missed these signs? Where you realized later that she was giving you permission, creating opportunities, allowing closeness, but you didn't recognize it at the time? Or maybe you have a story about when you finally understood what she was communicating through her actions, and everything clicked into place. I'd love to hear your experiences. Drop a comment below and share what you've learned about reading these subtle signals. And if this perspective changed how you think about attraction and connection, consider subscribing to Psychology with Natalie Whitman. We go deep into the hidden psychology of human behavior, the things no one talks about but everyone experiences. Because understanding people, truly understanding them, changes everything.